Mafia boss saw a half-dead girl in snow, then realized it was her. The snow fell in silence. Leonardo D'Amico walked alone through the frozen countryside, his breath forming clouds in the bitter air. No guards, no convoy, no security detail trailing behind him like shadows. Just him and the ghosts. Ahead, through the veil of white, his ancestral home appeared. A small, beautiful cottage swallowed by the night. 2 years. It had been 2 years since he'd left this place. 2 years since he'd walked away and become what he was now. A mafia boss. A monster. His jaw clenched. He shook his head, trying to clear the memory that surfaced like a knife through water. Sharp, cold, inevitable. Her. That face. Those eyes. That one night that had destroyed everything. Stop, he muttered to himself. But the image remained. A girl with cascading hair and a smile that had felt like home. The girl he'd married. The girl who'd betrayed him. His boots crunched through the snow. The house drew closer. He knew his mother would be asleep by now. The 2 servants, too. The place would be quiet. Empty. Just the way he wanted it. But then he saw her. A figure stood outside the gate, trembling in the icy wind. A girl. No coat. No warmth. Just a thin t-shirt and trousers clinging to a shivering frame. Her long hair whipped around her face as she pounded on the door. "Please," her voice cracked. "Please let me in. I'm begging you." Leonardo stopped. Who the hell? He moved closer, his footsteps silent against the snow. The girl kept banging on the door, desperation bleeding from every word. "Please, just open the door. I have nowhere else to go." "Who are you?" His voice cut through the night like a blade. She froze. Slowly she turned, and the world stopped. Time shattered into 1,000 frozen pieces. The snow, the wind, the darkness, all of it disappeared. Because it was her, Elena Rossi, his wife, the woman he'd left behind 2 years ago. The woman he'd spent one night with before walking away and never looking back. The woman he'd abandoned to the mercy of his family, hoping they'd at least give her shelter. The woman who'd broken him. Her eyes, those same eyes, were filled with tears now. Her lips were blue, her skin ghostly pale. She stared at him like she'd seen death itself. "What are you doing here?" His voice was cold, harder than he intended. She didn't answer, just stared. He stepped closer, his gaze raking over her. "What the hell are you wearing? It's winter. Are you trying to freeze to death?" Anger seeped into his tone, though something else twisted beneath it. Something that felt too much like concern. "You always had a talent for making everything difficult, didn't you?" The bitterness tasted familiar, comfortable. Memories surged, unbidden, unwanted. That night. The night he'd discovered her betrayal. He forced himself to look away. "Answer me." I'm leaving." Her voice trembled. "Please, don't hurt me. I'm leaving right now." She turned to go, but her body betrayed her. She stumbled. Her legs gave out beneath her, buckling like broken wings. The cold had stolen too much. She'd been standing there too long. Leonardo lunged forward. His arms caught her before she hit the ground, pulling her against his chest. Her body was ice, frozen, fragile. "Elena!" Her eyes fluttered closed. She went limp in his arms. "Damn it!" His heart pounded, a rhythm he hadn't felt in 2 years. "Elena!" Nothing. She was unconscious. He looked down at her face. Pale, peaceful, too still. Snow clung to her hair like broken stars. Her lips barely moved with each shallow breath. For a moment he just stood there, holding her. The girl who'd destroyed him. The girl he'd sworn to forget. And now she was back. In his arms. Like fate had played its cruelest joke. "Why?" he whispered into the night. "Why did you come back?" The snow answered with silence. Leonardo adjusted his grip, lifting her fully into his arms. She weighed nothing. A ghost made flesh. He turned toward the house, his boots leaving deep prints in the snow. The door remained closed. "Open the damn door!" he he shouted. Footsteps shuffled inside. A lock clicked. The door creaked open, revealing the pale, startled face of a servant. Master Leonardo, move. He pushed past her, carrying Elena into the warmth. The fire in the hearth still glowed faintly, casting dancing shadows across the walls. Get blankets, he ordered, and call the doctor, now! The servant nodded and disappeared. Leonardo laid Elena on the couch near the fire. Her skin was still too cold, her breathing too shallow. He grabbed a throw blanket and wrapped it around her, then another. His hands moved without thinking, like they remembered. You stupid, stubborn woman, he muttered, brushing wet hair from her face. What were you doing out there? Her eyelids didn't move, but her lips parted slightly, releasing a soft, pained breath. Something twisted in his chest. Anger. Yes, that was it. Anger. Not the other thing. Not that ache. Not that pull. He stood abruptly, stepping back from her like she was a flame that might burn him twice. You shouldn't have come back, he said quietly. You should have stayed wherever you were. Far from me. Far from this place. But even as he said it, his gaze remained locked on her face. The face that haunted his nights. The betrayal that had carved him hollow. And now, impossibly, she was here. The door behind him opened. His mother appeared, eyes wide with shock. Leonardo, what? Who is that? He didn't turn. My wife. The word felt like poison, like the beginning of something neither of them could escape. Outside, the snow continued to fall. And somewhere in the darkness, the past whispered its secrets. Leonardo froze. My wife. The words hung in the air like smoke. Heavy. Suffocating. His mother stared at him, then at the unconscious girl on the couch. But I thought, you said you'd ended everything. I did. His voice was flat. In my mind, at least. But this house remembered differently. This house still held the ghost of their marriage, the paperwork, the vows, the single night they'd shared before he'd walked away. He'd assumed she'd left, that she'd gone back to wherever she came from, that his family had turned her out weeks after he'd abandoned her here. Why didn't she leave? But there was no time for questions. Not now. Elena's lips were turning blue. Her skin felt like ice beneath his fingertips. The cold was winning. He'd always kept a key to this house. Even after everything. Even after he'd sworn never to return. Some chains couldn't be broken. Leonardo scooped Elena back into his arms. She felt lighter than before. More fragile. Like if he held too tight, she might shatter. His mother stepped aside. Leonardo, not now, Mama. He carried Elena through the familiar hallway. The servants were asleep. The house was silent except for the crackle of the dying fire and the sound of his own heartbeat. He knew where his mother's room was, where the guest rooms were. But where could he take her? He looked down at Elena's face. Even unconscious, she was shivering, her body fighting a battle it was losing. His jaw clenched. There was only one room warm enough, one room with a heater that still worked. His room. The room where they'd spent their wedding night. The room he'd locked away in his memory like a curse. Damn it. He pushed the door open with his shoulder. The room was exactly as he'd left it 2 years ago. The bed still made. The curtains still drawn. Dust covered the surfaces like forgotten snow. Leonardo laid Elena on the bed, her body sinking into the mattress. He pulled the thick blankets over her, then moved to the wall and switched on the heater. It hummed to life, warm air flooding the room. He grabbed a chair and dragged it to the bedside. Then he sat, and he watched her. Her face was slowly regaining color. The violent shivering began to ease. Her breathing steadied, deepened. But she didn't wake. Leonardo leaned back, his hands gripping the armrests. His knuckles were white. Why? The word slipped out before he could stop it. Why did you betray me? The question echoed in the empty room. No answer came. Only the sound of her breathing. In and out, in and out. He studied her face like he was searching for clues. For the lie hidden beneath the skin. For the truth he'd convinced himself he already knew. She looked different. Thinner. Tired. There were shadows under her eyes that hadn't been there before. What happened to you? He shook his head. No, he wouldn't care. Couldn't care. She'd made her choice 2 years ago. and he'd made his. But if that was true, why was his chest aching? Why did his hands want to reach out and touch her face, just to make sure she was real? "You were supposed to be gone," he whispered. "You were supposed to disappear. Move on. Forget me." Elena stirred slightly, a soft sound escaping her lips. Leonardo tensed, but her eyes remained closed. She was still lost in unconsciousness, wherever that darkness took her. He exhaled slowly. The heater rattled. Warmth spread through the room, pushing back the cold. Elena's shivering finally stopped. Her face relaxed, peaceful now. She looked like she was sleeping, not fighting, not afraid, just resting. Leonardo ran a hand through his hair, his mind a storm. Why was she at the door? Why didn't anyone let her in? Had his family turned on her, thrown her out? Or had she left and only just returned tonight? And why tonight? Why now? After 2 years of silence? "You always did have terrible timing," he muttered. A knock at the door made him look up. His mother entered quietly, carrying a tray with hot tea and towels. Her face was etched with worry. "Leonardo, don't." He held up a hand. "I don't want to talk about it. She's been here the whole time." He went still. "What?" His mother set the tray down on the side table. "Elena, she never left. Not once in 2 years." The words hit him like a punch. "That's impossible. She stayed in the servants' quarters, worked in the kitchen, cleaned the house." His mother's voice was soft. She asked for nothing, never complained, just stayed. Leonardo's hands curled into fists. "Why?" "I don't know. She never said." His mother looked at Elena with something like pity. "But tonight, she asked to leave. Said she couldn't stay anymore. I told her no." "You locked her out?" His voice was sharp. "I thought she'd change her mind. Come back inside." His mother's eyes glistened. "I didn't think she'd stand there in the cold for hours. I didn't think—" "Get out. Leonardo, get out." His mother hesitated, then nodded. She left the tea and towels and slipped from the room, closing the door softly behind her. Leonardo sat in the silence. She stayed. For 2 years, Elena had lived in this house, under his roof, breathing the same air, walking the same halls, and she never left. "Why?" he asked again, this time looking directly at her sleeping face. "Why would you stay after what you did?" Elena's lips moved, a barely audible whisper escaping. "Didn't—" Leonardo leaned closer. "What?" "I didn't betray—" The words were so faint he almost missed them. His heart stopped. "Elena?" But she had slipped back into sleep, her face serene, her secrets locked away. Leonardo sat back slowly, his mind reeling. "Tell me in comments, which country are you listening from? And hey, if you're loving this story, then don't forget to subscribe. Your support means the world." Didn't betray? No, that was impossible. He'd seen the evidence, the messages, the proof. Hadn't he? He pressed his palms against his eyes, trying to remember. Trying to piece together that night 2 years ago, when everything had fallen apart. But the memory was hazy now, blurred by anger and time. What if— No. He stood abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor. "You're lying," he said to her sleeping form. "Even now, even unconscious, you're still lying." But his voice lacked conviction. And for the first time in 2 years, Leonardo D'Amico felt something he'd thought was dead. Doubt. The night crawled forward. Leonardo sat in the chair beside Elena's bed, his mind drifting back through time. 2 years ago, he'd been nobody. Just a boy with big dreams and a small store. Then the fire came. Swallowed everything. Left him with ashes and debt and insurance money that couldn't even begin to cover the loss. His mother had been sick, the medical bills piling up like gravestones. He'd sat on a park bench that day, staring at nothing, defeated, broken. Then he'd heard her voice. "Are you okay?" Leonardo jerked his head up. A girl stood in front of him, 20 years old, beautiful in a way that felt effortless. Her smile was warm, genuine. "Concerned. You look troubled," she said softly. "Is something wrong?" He'd stood abruptly, anger flashing through him. "Who are you? Why are you bothering me?" But she didn't flinch, just kept smiling that gentle smile. Every Saturday I try to help someone. It brings me peace. Her voice was like music. My parents, they're gone. But I think their spirits are happy when I do good things, when I help people. She tilted her head. Today I saw you, and you looked like you needed help. So, will you let me? Leonardo stared at her. Do I look like a beggar to you? I don't need your charity. She laughed, soft, melodic. I'm not offering you money. Just let me buy you a meal, something warm. We'll eat, talk, then go our separate ways. Her eyes searched his. You look like you could use a friend right now. He should have said no, should have walked away, but loneliness was a heavy weight. And in that moment, he didn't want to carry it alone. Fine, he muttered, 1 meal. Her smile widened. Perfect. They'd gone to a small cafe around the corner. Nothing fancy, just coffee and sandwiches. The girl ordered for both of them, her energy filling the space between them. Leonardo didn't want to eat, didn't want to talk, but somehow he did both. I'm Elena, she said, wrapping her hands around her coffee cup. Elena Rossi. Leonardo. Nice to meet you, Leonardo. She took a sip. So what happened? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but sometimes talking helps. He hesitated. Then the words came tumbling out. The fire, the store, his mother's illness, the crushing weight of debt and failure. Elena listened without interrupting. Her eyes never left his face. She didn't offer empty platitudes or false hope. She just listened. I'm sorry, she said when he finished. That's a lot to carry. It doesn't matter now. His voice was hollow. It's over, done. Nothing's ever truly over, Elena said quietly. As long as you're breathing, there's a chance to rebuild, to start again. He wanted to believe her. He didn't. Elena told him about herself, about working as a waitress at a hotel nearby, about living alone in a small flat, about losing her parents years ago and learning to survive on her own. Every Saturday I help someone, she repeated. It reminds me that kindness still exists, that we're not alone in this world, even when it feels like we are. Leonardo found himself watching her, the way she spoke, the way her eyes lit up when she talked about helping people. She was genuine, real. In a world full of liars and thieves, she was something rare, something good. When the meal ended, Elena stood to leave. Thank you for letting me help you today, Leonardo. I hope things get better for you. Wait. He stood too. Let me at least pay for... Already taken care of. She winked. Go home, rest. Tomorrow will be better. She walked away before he could argue. Leonardo sat back down, shaking his head. Stubborn girl. Then he noticed something. Beneath his plate, tucked under the edge, was an envelope. His heart stopped. He grabbed it, tearing it open. Cash. A decent amount. Not a fortune, but enough to make a difference. Enough to matter. What the hell? He looked toward the door, but Elena was already gone. Disappeared into the crowd like a ghost. She'd helped him. Even after he'd been rude. Even after he'd refused. She'd left him money and vanished. Leonardo stared at the bills in his hand. He should have been angry, should have felt insulted. But instead, something else stirred in his chest. Gratitude, and something deeper. He folded the money carefully, slipping it into his pocket like a sacred trust. Like a debt he'd one day repay. Elena Rossi, he whispered. Who are you? Leonardo blinked, the memory fading. He was back in the present, in his childhood room, watching Elena sleep. That girl from the cafe. The one who'd saved him when he had nothing. That was her, his wife. The woman he'd accused of betrayal. You helped me, he murmured, his voice thick. That day, you didn't know me, didn't owe me anything, but you helped me anyway. Elena stirred slightly, her face peaceful. Leonardo leaned forward, elbows on his knees, hands clasped together. So why would you betray me later? The question burned. Why would someone like you? Why would you destroy everything? It didn't make sense. The girl he'd met that day, the kind, selfless girl who helped strangers. How could she become the woman who'd shattered his heart? Unless I was wrong. The words felt like poison on his tongue. But they also felt like truth. Leonardo ran a hand over his face, exhausted, confused. 2 years ago, he'd been so sure. The evidence had been clear, the betrayal undeniable. But now, sitting here in the quiet darkness, watching the woman who'd once saved him. Now he wasn't sure of anything. What really happened that night? He asked the silence. What did I miss? Elena's breathing remained steady, calm. But Leonardo's mind was a storm. And for the first time in 2 years, he realized something terrifying. Maybe, just maybe, he'd made a mistake. A mistake that had cost them both everything. Elena had stayed with him, not just in his thoughts, in his heart. Leonardo went home that night with her money tucked safely in his pocket. The next morning, he took his mother to the hospital. The doctors ran tests, prescribed medicine. It wasn't much, but it was something. Hope. And it was all because of Elena. Days later, he saw her again, walking out of the hotel where she worked, her hair catching the afternoon light. His heart jumped. He'd made a decision. But when he arrived home that evening, his mother was waiting. Leonardo, sit down. Her tone made him uneasy. I've found someone for you, she said slowly. A girl, from a wealthy family. Leonardo's jaw tightened. Mama, listen to me. She gripped his hand. She's divorced, has 2 children. But her family is rich, Leonardo. Very rich. They're willing to help you rebuild your business if you marry her. Her eyes pleaded. I've already spoken to them. They're interested. This is your chance. No. Leonardo, I said no. He pulled his hand away. I don't want their money. Then what do you want? His mother's voice broke. To struggle forever? To watch me die because we can't afford treatment? The words cut deep, but Leonardo's mind was already made up. I want Elena. His mother blinked. Who? The girl who helped me. The one I told you about. He stood. I'm going to marry her. Are you insane? She has nothing. No family, no money. She has a heart. Leonardo's voice was firm. And that's worth more than anything. He left before his mother could argue. Leonardo found Elena at her flat that evening. She opened the door, surprised. Leonardo, what are you— Marry me. The words hung in the air. Elena's eyes widened. What? I know it's sudden. I know we barely know each other. He stepped closer. But you saved me, Elena. When I had nothing, you gave me hope. And I can't stop thinking about you. Her cheeks flushed. Leonardo, you're going through so much right now. You don't need to make decisions like this when you're— I'm not confused. He took her hand. I know what I want, and it's you. Not money, not some arranged marriage. You. Elena searched his face. Her lips trembled. Money was never important to me either. Then say yes. A slow smile spread across her face. Yes. They married in a small church 2 days later. No grand ceremony. No guests. Just the 2 of them, a priest and their vows. Elena wore a simple white dress. Leonardo wore the only suit he owned. But when she took his hand and said, I do, nothing else mattered. They were husband and wife. Together, Leonardo felt lighter than he had in years. Like the world had finally given him something good. Ready to go home? He whispered. Elena nodded, her eyes shining. They walked back to his house hand in hand, laughing, talking about their future. But when Leonardo opened the door, his smile died. His mother stood in the living room, and she wasn't alone. A middle-aged couple sat on the couch. Beside them, a woman in her 30s, elegant, cold-eyed, watching him with interest. The wealthy family, the arranged marriage. Mama, Leonardo said slowly. What's going on? His mother's face had gone pale. I invited them. I thought— You thought what? His voice hardened. That I'd changed my mind? The woman on the couch stood. So this is the man you promised me? She looked Elena up and down with disdain. Interesting. Her father rose too, his face red with anger. You embarrass us like this? We came here in good faith, And you bring another woman into your home? I didn't invite you, Leonardo snapped. My mother did, without my permission. Leonardo! His mother's voice cracked. I was trying to help you. I told you I didn't want this. The wealthy family gathered their things, furious. The woman shot Leonardo one last look, half pity, half contempt, before storming out. The door slammed. Silence filled the room. Leonardo's mother stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. Mama, Leonardo said quietly, this is Elena, my wife. His mother looked at Elena, then at Leonardo. Her expression was cold, distant. Fine, she said flatly. If you've already married her, then be happy. But there was no warmth in her words. Leonardo felt the chill. Mama! I'm tired. She turned away. I'm going to bed. She left without another word. Elena's hand tightened in Leonardo's. She hates me. She'll come around. He pulled her close. Give her time. But doubt crept into his chest. Leonardo led Elena to his room. Their room now. He closed the door, shutting out the world. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't want your first day here to be like this. Elena cupped his face. I don't care about any of that. I care about you. And then she kissed him. Soft, sweet, burning. Leonardo pulled her closer, losing himself in her warmth, in the promise of something real. They fell onto the bed together, tangled in each other, whispering words of love and hope. That night they became one, not just in body but in soul. Leonardo held Elena afterward, her head resting on his chest, her breathing slow and peaceful. I love you, he murmured into her hair. I love you too, she whispered back. For the first time in forever, Leonardo felt complete. The next few days were bliss. Leonardo applied for loans, sent out applications, made plans. Soon, he'd have the money to rebuild, to start fresh. Elena worked at the hotel during the day, but every night she came home to him. They talked, laughed, dreamed together. Life felt possible again. One evening, they sat on the floor of their room, eating cheap takeout and planning their future. When the business takes off, Leonardo said, I'm taking you somewhere nice. Paris, maybe. Or Rome. Elena grinned. I'd be happy with a picnic in the park. Then we'll do both. She kissed him, smiling against his lips. That night they made love again. Slow, tender, full of promise. Leonardo fell asleep with Elena in his arms, her heartbeat steady against his. He dreamed of the future, of happiness, of forever. But when morning came, everything shattered. A knock at the door. Loud, urgent. Leonardo woke groggily. Elena stirred beside him. Who is it? He called. Leonardo. His mother's voice sharp, cold. You have a guest. He frowned, pulling on his shirt. Elena sat up, clutching the blanket around herself. A guest? Who? Just come downstairs. Something in her tone made his blood run cold. Leonardo kissed Elena's forehead. Stay here, I'll handle it. He left the room and descended the stairs. His mother stood in the hallway, her face unreadable. And beside her stood a man. Tall, well-dressed, familiar. Leonardo's stomach dropped. Leonardo D'Amico? The man smiled, a predator's smile. We need to talk. The man in the doorway was young, handsome, confident, and Leonardo had never seen him before in his life. Who are you? Leonardo's voice was tight. The stranger smiled, cold, calculating. My name is Marco, and I think we need to talk about your wife. Leonardo's chest tightened. What about her? Marco pulled out his phone. Elena and we've been in a relationship for months. That's a lie. Leonardo stepped forward. Get out of my house. Is it? Marco's smile widened. He tapped his screen. Then explain these. He turned the phone toward Leonardo. Messages, dozens of them, from Elena's number. Leonardo's blood turned to ice. I'm going to marry him soon. He's so easy to fool. Once I get the house, we can be together. Just wait a little longer. He trusts me completely. What an idiot. The words burned into Leonardo's mind like acid. No. His voice cracked. No, that's not. There's more. Marco swiped through the messages. Photos, conversations, plans, all from Elena's phone, all scheming to take everything from him. Leonardo's hands shook. His vision blurred. She used you, Marco said simply. For the house, for security. She never loved you. Stop. Leonardo's voice was a whisper. Ask her yourself. Marco gestured upstairs. See if she denies it. Leonardo turned. Elena stood at the top of the stairs, her face pale, her eyes wide with horror. Leonardo, I don't know who this man is. Don't lie to me! His roar echoed through the house. I saw the messages! What messages? I never... Enough! He stormed toward Marco, grabbing him by the collar. Get out, now! Marco raised his hands. I'm just telling you the truth, man. She played you. Leonardo's fist connected with Marco's jaw. Once and twice, 3 times. Marco stumbled back, blood dripping from his lip. But he was smiling. Still smiling. You'll see, Marco said quietly. You'll see I'm right. Leonardo shoved him toward the door. If I ever see you again, I'll kill you. Marco left, his laughter echoing down the street. Leonardo slammed the door shut. Silence. His mother stood in the corner, her face unreadable. Elena descended the stairs slowly, tears streaming down her face. Leonardo, please. I don't know that man. I never sent those messages. Stop talking. His voice was hollow, dead. Please, you have to believe me. I said stop. He couldn't look at her, couldn't breathe. Everything he'd believed. Everything he'd hoped for. Lies. All of it. The business losses. The failed loan applications. His mother's anger. And now this. Elena, the one person he'd thought was real, had betrayed him too. Leonardo. Elena reached for him. He stepped back. Don't touch me. Her hand fell to her side. I trusted you, he whispered. I gave you everything I had, and you were just using me. That's not true, her voice broke. I love you. I would never... Love? He laughed bitterly. You don't know what that word means. Please, I'm leaving. He turned toward the door. His mother stepped forward. Leonardo, wait. Tell her to leave. His voice was ice. Tell her to get out of this house, because I'm never coming back. Son, I'm done, Mama, with all of it, with this house, with her, with this life. He grabbed his coat. I'm going to build something new, no matter what it takes. Leonardo, don't do this. But he was already gone. The door slammed behind him. Elena collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Leonardo's mother stood frozen, watching her son disappear into the night. 2 years. It took Leonardo 2 years to become something else. Something darker. He'd walked away from that house with nothing but rage and determination. The world was cruel, so he learned to be crueler. He fell in with dangerous people, made deals in shadows, traded morality for power. Within months, he'd joined a mafia organization. Within a year, he'd climbed the ranks. Within 2 years, he was a boss. Leonardo D'Amico, the broken boy with nothing, became a man with everything. Money, influence, fear. He built an empire on blood and ruthlessness, and he never looked back. But he didn't forget his mother. Every month, money arrived at the house. Enough to live comfortably. Enough to hire servants, security guards, doctors. He made sure she wanted for nothing, but he never visited, never called, never returned, because that house held too many ghosts, too much pain. He convinced himself Elena had left, that she'd taken what she could and disappeared. Why would she stay? She'd gotten what she wanted, security, a roof over her head. Once he was gone, what reason did she have to remain? No, she was gone, and he was better off without her. Leonardo told himself this every night, over and over, until he almost believed it. But now, sitting in that same room, watching Elena sleep peacefully in his bed, everything he'd believed was crumbling. You stayed, he whispered. For 2 years, you stayed. If she'd betrayed him, why would she stay? If she'd been using him, why would she work as a servant in his mother's house? Why would she stand outside in the freezing cold, begging to be let in? None of it made sense. Leonardo leaned back, exhaustion weighing on him. The messages, Marco, the evidence, it had all seemed so real, so undeniable. But what if it was a lie? The words tasted bitter, hopeful, terrifying. What if Marco had fabricated everything? What if someone had set her up? What if Leonardo had destroyed the only good thing in his life because he'd been too angry to see the truth? No. He shook his head. No, I saw the messages. They were real. But doubt gnawed at him. Elena stirred, a soft sound escaping her lips. Leonardo watched her face. Peaceful, vulnerable, innocent. The same face that had smiled at him in the cafe. The same face that had said "I do" in the church. The same face that had whispered "I love you" before he'd walked away forever. "Who are you, Elena?" he asked the darkness. Really? Outside, the snow continued to fall, and Leonardo realized something that made his chest ache. He'd spent 2 years running from the past, but the past had been waiting here all along. And now he had no choice but to face it. Leonardo blinked. The memories faded like smoke. He was back. In the present. In this room. Sunlight filtered through the curtains. Morning had arrived while he'd been lost in the past. How long had he been sitting here? All night. Elena still slept, her breathing soft and even. The color had returned to her face. The trembling had stopped. She looked peaceful, safe. Voices drifted from downstairs, sharp, angry. His mother. Where did that girl go? Her voice cut through the quiet house. She must have run off. Finally, good riddance. Leonardo's jaw clenched. It's because of her my son left me, his mother continued, speaking to the servants. Because of her, I lost 2 years with Leonardo. I should have thrown her out sooner. I should have made her suffer more. The venom in her voice made Leonardo's stomach turn. When I find her, I'll give her an even worse punishment than before. Something cold settled in Leonardo's chest. Worse than before? He rose from the chair, his legs stiff from sitting all night. Moving to the door, he opened it quietly and stepped into the hallway. His mother stood at the bottom of the stairs, flanked by 2 servants. Her face was twisted with rage. Mama. She spun around. Her eyes widened. Leonardo, when did you... Last night. His voice was flat, cold. But I didn't hear you arrive. You locked Elena out. He descended the stairs slowly. In the middle of a snowstorm, at night. His mother's face paled. She said she wanted to leave. So you let her freeze? Anger bled into his tone. She was standing outside for hours. Her lips were blue. She nearly died. I didn't think... You didn't think? Leonardo stopped in front of her. Or you didn't care? His mother straightened, defensive. She betrayed you. She destroyed this family. She deserved shelter. His voice was steel. It was winter, night. You should have at least waited until morning. His mother opened her mouth, closed it. Confusion flickered across her face. But I thought you hated her. You left because of her. You said... I know what I said. Leonardo's hands curled into fists. But that doesn't mean she deserved to die in the cold. Something shifted in his chest. Something he'd been trying to suppress. The softness, the doubt. The part of him that still remembered the girl in the cafe. The girl who'd helped a stranger without asking for anything in return. His mother watched him carefully. What are you saying? Why didn't she leave? Leonardo's voice dropped. You said yourself. She's been here for 2 years. Why didn't she go? I don't know. His mother looked away. She just stayed, worked like a servant, never complained. Did you pay her? Silence. Did you feed her properly? More silence. Leonardo's anger flared. Answer me! She ate the leftovers, his mother said quietly. Slept in the storage room. Worked from sunrise to sunset. Like an animal. His mother flinched. She owed us. After what she did... Enough. Leonardo turned away, his mind spinning. If Elena had betrayed him, why would she stay? Why would she endure 2 years of abuse and humiliation? It didn't make sense. Unless she'd been telling the truth. I need to think, Leonardo muttered. Alone. He started back toward the stairs. But then he heard it. Soft footsteps. He turned. Elena stood in the hallway, dressed in the simple clothes she'd been wearing the night before. Her hair was tied back. Her eyes downcast. She didn't look at him. Didn't acknowledge him. She moved past him like a ghost, heading toward the kitchen. Elena! She didn't stop. Leonardo watched her disappear through the doorway. His mother cleared her throat. She knows her place. Leonardo shot her a look. What? She knows she's not welcome here. Not really. His mother's voice was bitter. But she stays anyway, like a dog begging for scraps. Leonardo's chest tightened. He followed Elena into the kitchen. She stood at the sink scrubbing dishes. Her movements were mechanical, practiced. Elena. She didn't turn around. Elena, look at me. Still nothing. Leonardo stepped closer. Why didn't you leave? Her hands stilled, but she didn't answer. You could have gone anywhere, started over, but you stayed here. Why? Silence. Answer me. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper. Because I had nowhere else to go. That's not true. It is. She resumed scrubbing, her shoulders tense. I have no family, no friends, no money. Her voice cracked. This was the only place I knew, the only connection I had to you. Leonardo's heart twisted. So you stayed, he said slowly, even though my mother treated you like garbage, even though I abandoned you. A tear slipped down her cheek. I thought maybe one day you'd come back, and I could explain, tell you the truth. She laughed bitterly, but you never came. Elena! I don't know who that man was, she continued, her voice stronger now. I never sent those messages. I never planned to betray you. She finally turned to face him, tears streaming down her face. I loved you, Leonardo. I still... She stopped herself. I still what? Leonardo stepped closer. Say it. She shook her head. It doesn't matter anymore. It matters to me. Why? Her voice broke. You made your choice 2 years ago. You left without listening, without giving me a chance to defend myself. I was angry. You were cruel. Her eyes blazed. You threw me away like I meant nothing. The words hit him like a slap. Because they were true. Leonardo had been so consumed by rage, so blinded by betrayal, that he hadn't stopped to think. Hadn't stopped to question. He just left. I'm sorry, he whispered. Elena stared at him. What? I'm sorry. The words felt foreign, heavy. I should have listened. Should have given you a chance to explain. Her lips trembled. Why are you saying this now? Because I don't know what to believe anymore. He ran a hand through his hair. The evidence seemed real. The messages, the photos, everything pointed to you. But now... Now what? Now I'm not sure. He met her gaze. If you were lying, why would you stay? Why would you endure 2 years of hell for a man who hated you? Or maybe... Leonardo stepped closer. Maybe I was wrong. The air between them crackled. Elena looked away. It's too late, Leonardo. You can't just... I want to know the truth. His voice was urgent. About that night. About Marco. About everything. Why, so you can leave again? No. He grabbed her hand. So I can fix this. If I made a mistake, if I destroyed something real because I was too stupid to see the truth, then I need to know. Elena stared at their joined hands. Then slowly she pulled away. The truth won't change anything, she said softly. The damage is done. And she walked out of the kitchen, leaving Leonardo alone with his regrets. Leonardo couldn't let it go. Elena's words haunted him. Her tears. Her pain. I loved you, Leonardo. Past tense. He'd killed that love with his own hands. But something gnawed at him. A splinter lodged deep in his mind. The messages, the evidence. He'd been so angry that night. So devastated. He hadn't questioned anything. But now, Leonardo pulled out his phone and made a call. Luca, I need you to dig into something. 2 years ago. A man named Marco. His associate's voice crackled through. What am I looking for? Everything. Who paid him? Who he worked for? I want proof. Give me an hour. Leonardo hung up. He paced the room, his mind racing. If Elena was innocent, if she'd been telling the truth all along, then someone had set her up. But who? Who would benefit from destroying their marriage? The answer came to him slowly, painfully. His mother. She'd been furious about the wedding. Furious that he'd chosen Elena over the wealthy woman she'd arranged. But would she really go that far? 30 minutes later, his phone rang. Leonardo. Luca's voice was grim. You're not going to like this. Tell me. Marco Bellini, small-time con artist. 2 years ago, he received a payment, 10,000 euros, from an account belonging to your mother. Leonardo's blood turned to ice. What? There's more. Phone records show multiple calls between them in the days before he showed up at your house. And the messages from Elena's number? They were fabricated, photoshopped. I had a tech expert analyze them. They're fake. The phone nearly slipped from Leonardo's hand. Fake, he whispered. I'm sorry, boss, but yeah. Someone went to a lot of trouble to make you believe your wife betrayed you. Leonardo ended the call. His hands were shaking, all of it. Every message, every photo, every piece of evidence. Lies. His mother had orchestrated everything. She'd hired Marco, created fake messages, destroyed his marriage. Why? Because she couldn't stand that he'd chosen someone else. Someone without money or status. Because she wanted control. Leonardo's vision blurred with rage. He stormed downstairs. His mother sat in the living room sipping tea. She looked up when he entered. Leonardo? What's wrong? Marco Bellini. His voice was deadly quiet. Ring a bell? She went pale. I don't know what you're... Don't lie to me. His roar shook the room. I know everything. The payments, the phone calls, the fake messages. His mother's teacup trembled in her hand. You hired him, Leonardo continued, stepping closer. You paid him to come to this house and destroy my marriage. You fabricated evidence to make me think Elena betrayed me. Leonardo, why? His voice cracked. Why would you do that? She set the cup down carefully. Her face hardened. Because she wasn't good enough for you. That wasn't your decision to make. You were throwing your life away. Her voice rose. For some nobody. Some waitress with nothing to offer. I was trying to protect you. Protect me? Leonardo laughed bitterly. You destroyed me. I gave you a reason to leave. To build something greater. His mother stood. And look at you now. You're powerful, wealthy, respected. Would you have any of that if you'd stayed with her? Leonardo stared at his mother like she was a stranger. You're insane. I'm your mother. I did what was necessary. Necessary? His fists clenched. You ruined an innocent woman's life. Made me believe she'd betrayed me. Forced her to live like a slave in this house for 2 years. She could have left. She had nowhere to go. Leonardo's voice broke. She stayed because she loved me. Because she hoped I'd come back and listen to the truth. His mother's expression didn't change. Sentiment. It makes people weak. Leonardo looked at the woman who'd raised him and felt nothing but disgust. I wanted you to love only me, she said quietly. To listen only to me. I couldn't share you with anyone else. Especially not her. That's not love, Mama. Leonardo's voice was hollow. That's possession. Control. She lifted her chin. Call it what you want. I don't regret it. Something inside Leonardo shattered. Not his heart, that had broken 2 years ago, but whatever final thread had connected him to this woman. Then we have nothing more to say to each other. He turned toward the stairs. Where are you going? To fix what you destroyed. Leonardo found Elena in the servants' quarters, a tiny room, barely furnished. She sat on the bed, staring at nothing. Elena. She didn't look up. He entered slowly, closing the door behind him. I know the truth. Her head lifted. What? The messages, Marco, all of it. Leonardo knelt in front of her. It was my mother. She paid him, fabricated everything. You were telling the truth. Elena's eyes widened. Tears spilled over. You believe me? I'm so sorry. His voice broke. I should have listened. Should have trusted you. I destroyed everything because I was too blinded by anger to see the truth. Elena covered her face with her hands, sobs racking her body. Leonardo pulled her into his arms. I'm sorry, he repeated. I'm so sorry. She clung to him, 2 years of pain pouring out. I tried to tell you, she gasped. I tried. I know. He held her tighter. And I failed you. But I'm here now, and I'm never leaving again. Elena pulled back, searching his face. How can I trust that? How can I believe you won't walk away again? Because I love you. The words came easily now. I never stopped. Even when I thought you'd betrayed me, I couldn't stop loving you. Her breath caught. I love you, Elena, and if you'll let me, I'll spend the rest of my life proving it. She stared at him, tears streaming down her face. Then slowly she nodded. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Leonardo kissed her, soft, desperate, full of everything he couldn't say. And Elena kissed him back, not with the innocence of 2 years ago, but with the strength of someone who'd survived hell and found her way back. 3 months later, Leonardo stood in the garden of their new home, not the old house, not his mother's prison. A new beginning. Elena walked toward him, smiling. Her hair caught the sunlight. Her eyes, those same eyes that had first captured him, sparkled with life. Ready? She asked. He took her hand, always. They'd left the past behind. His mother, the old house, the pain. Leonardo had cut ties completely. No more money, no more visits. She'd made her choice. And he'd made his. Elena was his family now. His home, his everything. I love you, he said. She squeezed his hand. I love you too. And for the first time in 2 years, Leonardo felt complete. The darkness had lifted. The lies had been exposed. And love, real, honest, unbreakable love, had survived. They walked into their home together. Not haunted by ghosts, but filled with hope. And finally they were free.